On this video, we're going to be talking about what do you do before you go to the dealership? Getting ready, prepared to go buy your vehicle at the dealership or lease your vehicle. Too many times people do their homework on what kind of car they're going to buy, whether they have 2 or 3 options, 4 options, but they're thinking about what fits my needs when it comes to space, when it comes to the payment on the vehicle, how long I'm going to keep the vehicle, whether it's going to be 5 years, 6 years, as far as financing, or if I'm going to lease the vehicle, is it going to be a 2-year lease, a 3-year lease? Those are things people think about when it comes to buying and leasing a car. But too many times people don't do their homework when it comes to leasing a vehicle or buying a vehicle, checking insurance rates before you go to the dealership. So in this video, we're going to call this Insurance Edition. So how do you get a better rate? Well, I'm glad you asked. Americans think bigger is better. Trucks, mid-size vehicles, SUVs, like the Silverado, the Equinox, tend to have lower rates when it comes to leasing or buying a car. And the sedans and sports cars, not so much. So cars with the higher rates, and I want you to keep this in mind when you're looking at vehicles, Chrysler 300, Dodge Challengers, Dodge Charger. Now these vehicles seem to have, or don't seem, they have the higher rate when it comes to insurance. Why? It's because the theft on a 300, a Dodge Charger, and a Charger is high. That means that the rate far as being stolen, a lot of people look at thieves specialize in stealing those 3 vehicles. You got the Dodge Charger, you got the Challenger, and you got 300. They love to actually steal those vehicles. So when these vehicles are stolen, what happens is your interest rate on your vehicles are higher. They affect everyone, not just the people that own them right now, but they hurt the people that are thinking about getting those vehicles in the future. Now, anything luxury means that you pay more. Why? Because you're paying more for that pricey brand. You're paying more. So if you have that Navigator, that Lincoln Navigator, if you have that Cadillac Escalade, the black Cadillac Escalade or the silver Cadillac Escalade. Let me just say, the black Cadillac Escalade with the black rims, the ones you're like slobbing about, dreaming about, and the BMW or even the Tesla. Those are the vehicles that you're going to pay more for because they're considered luxury and they will be priced higher. So remember, you pay more for your vehicle when it comes to luxury, but you're going to pay more for your vehicle when it's luxury because it's going to cost more to replace that vehicle if it's luxury. So next is rates are higher in high traffic areas. For instance, Detroit. I'm in Michigan. I'm born and raised in Pontiac, Michigan, working in Waterford, Michigan. I don't live in the area, don't want to say where I live, but in Michigan, certain parts, you pay higher because of the interest rate. Detroit, high crime zip codes. So if you live in Bloomfield Hills, which is considered the suburbs, or if you live in Birmingham, Michigan, which is considered suburbs, if you live in Macomb, that's considered, I don't want to consider Macomb, Michigan a suburb, but that's not too far out far as Bloomfield Hills, you're going to get a better interest rate according to your zip code. Now, when it comes to Pontiac, Michigan, Waterford, Michigan, you're going to pay a little bit lower with your interest rate because it's not a high crime rate as far as Detroit. Just give an example, not picking on my people from Detroit because Detroit is 30 to 45 minutes away from the dealership, and a lot of my customers come from Detroit. But just know, it doesn't matter whether it's Detroit, that zip code that you live in, whether it's Westland, Michigan, or Dearborn, Michigan. It's all about the zip code and the high crime zone, high crime zip codes. So now I want to tell you one of the main reasons in Michigan insurance is so expensive is we have the PIP. It's called the Personal Injury Protection. And how do you get your insurance lower with the PIP, which is the Personal Injury Protection? Is that you have a qualified health letter. They call it a PIP, Personal Injury Protection. Now, if you're insured in Michigan and you live in Michigan and you need insurance in Michigan because you live in Michigan, you want to be prepared with the Medicare. Medicare is Medicare, Medicare, or Medicaid. MEDICAID cards, or a qualified health letter from your health provider. Now, if you're working, you can get your qualified health letter from your employer. If you work for General Motors, you work for Chrysler, or if you work for the Pontiac School District, if you're a school teacher, or if you work for the health field. It doesn't matter where you work, right? I know I named the Pontiac school systems, the hospitals, and then also I named Chrysler, Ford, GM. You don't have to work for any of them. Any company that you work for, and they can provide, you have health insurance through them, they need to give you a qualified health letter from your health insurer. This brings your automobile insurance down lower.